Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining. I know people are probably still filing in. Happy Tuesday after a long weekend. My name is Kyler Blodgett. I'm PeopleForBikes State and Local Policy Analyst, and also hosting today's webinar, How PeopleForBikes is Improving Bicycling and Your Bike Business in 2022 and beyond. We'll wait a few seconds as folks join in, get themselves set up. Then I'm so happy to introduce our speaker for the day, and we'll get rolling. All right, everyone, as folks are getting themselves set up, welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. Lovely to have you. In case you missed it a second ago, my name is Kyler Blodgett, PeopleForBikes State and Local Policy Analyst, and I'm thrilled that you're here with us for the first of our 2022 webinar series meant for the bike industry. Today's webinar is entitled, How PeopleForBikes is Improving Bicycling in Your Bike Business in 2022 and Beyond. We'll be covering our top line goals for this year, how we plan to get there, and a few of the key programs that we have lined up before opening up for Q&A in the final 10 minutes or so. I'm honored to briefly introduce our main presenter today, PeopleForBikes' President and CEO, Jen Dice, to walk us through this exciting content. Everyone, please add your questions throughout the presentation to the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen for our discussion at the end. Jen, all over to you.
Thank you, Kyler. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. Bright and early Tuesday morning. I want to welcome and thank you for joining our annual tradition of walking you through our 2022 goals, tell you about what we're going to do next year, and show you our big vision, our big 30, 50-year vision. On behalf of our PeopleForBikes board and staff, I want to welcome you and thank you. I truly have the best job in the world, and I work with the most talented team. Our staff works so hard. They're so talented. And when you believe in your mission-driven work, it truly doesn't feel like work. We're really lucky to be leaving a legacy for bicycling in the bike industry. And we get to work with industry leaders like you and your company, also passionate about the power of the bicycle, and also believing in our mission. And I just wanted to start off today with a heartfelt thank you to our staff, to our board, to the almost 300 supplier members that make up our trade and advocacy association. The last 2 years together, we have accomplished a lot. We have notched some serious wins and capitalizing on all this bike momentum. We've accomplished a lot together, but we dream even bigger and we plan even better. So our plans for 2022 are another aggressive year, new programs, key initiatives for more and better bicycling. So we believe through hard work and through collaboration, 2022 is going to be another great year. So thank you for joining us, and thank you sincerely for being part of your industry and advocacy nonprofit association. Our agenda today is light and fast. We, of course, want to welcome you all, tell you about our vision for more and better bicycling. We have 3 strategies to get there, and I'll tell you a specific story about each one of those strategies. And of course, how you and your company can get involved to grow bicycling in your community, to grow bicycling with your customers, and nationwide. So thank you, Kyler, for this great PowerPoint, and let's roll. We'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the very end of the agenda, like Kyler said as well, and feel free to type in questions as we go that we'll field at the end. So first off, I want to start the whole 2022 work plan with sort of grounding us and why we do what we do, what our why is, what our purpose is. Why we get up every day, why we do what we do, is that we believe bikes make life great. We dream of a world for more and better bicycling. Our core purpose is that bikes make life great, and they're a solution to many of the problems our communities and quite frankly, our world faces. So our core purpose, our why, is that bikes make life great. Millions of Americans have started bicycling in the last couple of years. They've returned to bicycling and started for the first time. And our vision is to make America the best bicycling nation in the world. We know how good it could be both on road and off. We see global examples. We have programs in key areas to grow bicycling in America. But our big goal, our big vision is we want America to be the best place to ride a bike, both on road and off. And every year when we send out our 2022 work plan, this year we actually included our vision. We wanted to make sure the bike industry really knows what your trade and advocacy staff goes to work to do every day, is to make America a better place to ride. Just to give you a little bit more idea about what that means, our vivid description of our big goal, the idea that no matter where you go, you can seek joy on a bicycle. That from large urban cities to small rural towns, the US is the best place to ride a bike for recreation or to safely get from where you live to where you want to go. We believe that communities will be more connected and more vibrant thanks to the bicycle. Protected bike lanes, trails, bike parks are all ubiquitous, and children are taught to ride in elementary school. Biking is commonplace. Every age, size, race, identity, ability, ride daily, since bicycling is affordable and it's fully integrated into public transport. We believe that bikes will transform the American way of life, that people will be happier and the planet will be healthier. Our big 50-year goal is to make America the best place to ride a bike in the world. And we have 3 strategies to get there. Our 3 strategies are infrastructure, policy, and participation. And those of you who've known People for Bikes or previously Bikes Belong for many years know that infrastructure is our bread and butter. We work to accelerate the construction of safe, fun, and connected places to ride. Policy, our teams are steeped in public policy work to advance pro-bike and pro-bike business legislation. And our 3rd strategy is participation. We must reduce barriers to access and welcome more people to the joys of bicycling. So our 3 big strategies are infrastructure, policy, and participation. And we will unpack those a little bit more, but we really wrap all of our work in 2022 and beyond in those 3 pillars. So unpacking the 3 strategies a little bit more, of course, the first one is infrastructure. We've been in the infrastructure for a very long time. And when you think about just largely, we want to make sure people have connected bike networks, that you can bike from where you live to where you want to go, no matter where you live and where you want to go. We want to make sure that they're truly ubiquitous. On the infrastructure side, we work, our biggest, most signature program is called our City Ratings Program. We're probably in year 5 of the City Ratings Program, where we'll rate 700 US cities on their connected bike networks, on can you easily access jobs, groceries, education, healthcare, you name it. And we give cities specific advice on how to improve their scores. It's data-driven. We compare to global cities that are much further ahead than the United States. And new this year as part of our City Ratings Program is we'll be embedding even more education and best practices, even more video, and we have a new State of Bicycling report assessing how our cities in America, where they can specifically make improvements. Our technology or our data tool is called the Bicycle Network Analysis Tool, and it's on a scale of 0 to 100. And we know that when cities get over a score of 50, there's exponential growth in the rate of cycling that happens in those communities. So we'll be really thinking, or we'll be really working more on how to get cities in the US getting their score over 50, assessing them and highlighting great places to bike in our State of Bicycling report. Also new this year is more videos. Many of you have watched our pretty popular and successful Advocacy Academy. We've got 28 videos there helping advocates, city leaders, the bike industry really grow cycling in their community, where we're going to be adding light and fast videos, these 1-minute hero videos, people doing great things for bicycling in their community. So if you know a local hero that's doing great things, send us their name, because we're going to be doing dozens and dozens of these short, snappy 1-minute celebrate advocates and bike heroes. We'll also be doing some more best practices with NACTO, the National Association of City Transportation Officials. They're rewriting their urban bikeway design guidelines. And it's the Bible for what local engineers use and how they engineer protected bike lanes, low stress networks in cities. We're going to be partnering with NACTO on 5 videos to help these new important chapters that they're writing with city leaders to help them bring them to life through video. And of course, we have really talented writers on staff that are going to be doing some rich blog content to go with all of our infrastructure. So first strategy, making sure you have a great place to ride, safe, comfortable, fun, close to home, both on road and off. So the first strategy is infrastructure. And to give you an example, Austin is our single best example. Austin, Texas, Mayor Adler has been working for years with folks on our team, local organizers in the group Move ATX, Jim Wicks, Laura Deerenfield, some of the local advocacy groups as well. They built this very successful coalition, had a ballot measure for hundreds of millions of dollars for active transportation. And the best example of accelerating infrastructure in our strategy of building more safe, fun, and connected places to ride is Austin, Texas. They built 115 miles of comfortable, high quality bike lanes in just the last 2 years. And they've committed to doubling that number in the next 3 years. So Austin, Texas is going to be rivaling Paris, London, some of the other big cities for connected bike networks and moving people into active transportation. You hear the Austin mayor say, we can't build our way out of all this congestion. There's simply no more room to move in Austin. So we'll be hosting an event there next fall to train more bike industry, advocacy, retail leaders on the model that is Austin. And there'll be plenty of bike rides and study tours of this great success story. So we'll have those dates soon for us, September, Austin, showing best practices of bike infrastructure here in the United States. Our second strategy to achieve the best bicycle nation in the world is public policy. And of course, those of you who know People for Bikes know that we have an incredible policy team. We work with Congress, we work in all 50 states for access, for funding, for better bike policies, for pro-business strategies, you name it. Policy and infrastructure, of course, go hand in hand. And specifically, many of you have worked on our model electric bicycle legislation. We're up to 38 states. We'll tackle 7 more states next year. And we partner with local advocates. We hire a lot of lobbyists. As your industry trade association, we've had tremendous luck in working with state capitals to help pass state bills, that we work with local retailers, local advocacy groups, and locally connected lobbyists. So we'll keep that playbook going, both at the local level and of course with Congress. We have a team in DC, and many of you have been on our Washington, DC executive fly-ins. COVID willing, hopefully we'll have a couple more scheduled this year. We'd love for you to attend. And we'll also be forwarding things like our e-bike act. The e-bike act is a $900 purchase incentive on the price of an electric bike, up to a $4,000 cap. It's stalled in the Build Back Better Act, but we have marker legislation. Hopefully we're part of this larger package. If we're not, we'll be looking for other vehicles to move the e-bike act. But that's a great example of together how our industry leaders, our companies, our subcommittees all work. Model legislation, purchase incentives. We also have a robust pro-bike trade and tariff initiative. We have a 2022 tariff guide that will be coming out shortly. And many of you know, through the long slog that tariffs have been, we've saved about $150 million for the bike industry and tariff exclusions. And we're very active in the exemption and in the exclusion process right now. So trade and tariff work is a big part of our initiatives as well. With Congress, that last year we helped pass an infrastructure bill, marked a 70% increase in infrastructure funding for bike paths, bike trails, single track, trailheads, bike parks, both on road and off bicycling infrastructure. There's better language to build connected bike networks, a more equitable planning process, and making bikes eligible for many more funds that had traditionally been reserved for climate. there's tremendous opportunity for bicycles to be seen as a climate solution. And you're going to see more and more of our policy work in the climate space. And in the bike industry, you're like, well, of course we're a climate solution. That hasn't always been recognized by policymakers. And in the last few years, there's been a lot of momentum for the bicycle, and especially the e-bike as a climate solution. So our policy team will be all over that in Washington, D.C. The quick example of this policy strategy is that the bike industry should be so proud of launching the first ever transportation industry or transportation sector nationwide battery recycling program. It will be coming out in the next couple months. We have created an entire campaign targeted at suppliers, retailers, or collection points, and individual consumers. Our partner, Call to Recycle, started this initiative in Canada. Canada has gone before us, and we've taken the last 6 to 9 months working intently and earnestly with the bike industry, both the e-bike subcommittee, the sustainability committee, legislative, legal, and safety, and both our trade association committee, the former BPSA, and our coalition board of directors. Collectively, dozens and dozens of leaders have helped us create this robust nationwide battery recycling program. And we couldn't be more thrilled to launch this program in the spring. We need to get the lithium-ion batteries properly recycled, and our industry is taking responsibility, and we know the battery recycling program is just the first of many climate initiatives that we'll be tackling on our own and partnering with the Outdoor Industry Association. The final and third strategy is, of course, participation, reducing barriers to riding, welcoming more people to the joys of bicycling. Just to unpack that a little bit more, youth cycling is a major initiative we partnered with 10 different organizations: NICA, the League of American Bicyclists, Safe Route to Schools, USA Cycling, Project Bike Tech, Little Bellas, Free Bikes for Kids, Trips for Kids, and USA BMX. And these 10 national organizations are working in Morgantown, West Virginia, on a pilot project to get kids bicycling from age 6 to 18. We're partnering with the University of West Virginia. And as you know, we lose most kids. We're helping reduce barriers for cycling to get more kids on bikes, but a lot of times we lose them in high school or in after high school. So this program is measuring, tracking, working cross-national group from a young age to middle school to high school. How do we keep people on bikes for now and into the future? It's a really exciting pilot project. We're just getting going, so no results to report yet. But every project we do at PeopleForBikes, we look for scale, and we look for best practices and things to amplify. So with these partners, we have high hopes for youth cycling. We also do a lot of work with the Outride Foundation and Riding for Focus. In our participation strategy, we have a robust DEI subcommittee. We probably have about 24, 25 brands that are on our industry diversity, equity, and inclusion subcommittee. And we have both an action track and also an education track. We've been meeting for a little over a year. And on our education track, each month we tackle different issues, learn from DEI leaders. And our action track is threefold. One working group works on diverse marketing and communications to be more inviting, to be more inclusive, and to be more welcoming on the marketing and communications front. Another group works on building allies within your organization to make sure your industry group has a established diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative. And if you have someone working on this, please send them our way to be part of the group. And the third working group is really how to build hiring, retention, education, and sustaining efforts to make sure that as a bike industry, we're a welcoming place, we're an attractive place for diverse communities to work, and that we support and sustain. So the 3 action tracks, we would welcome increased participation from the bike industry. Third, we have the Business Intelligence Hub. If you're not in there every week, we have participation, retail sales, consumer insights. We do primary research every other week of the general population. We also interview or do surveys of our enthusiast riders. We're constantly bringing back to the industry what's happening with retail sales, participation, and more. Our board voted last month to really expand our data dashboard, our intelligence hub. And so there's areas that are strong, there's areas that are very weak, and there's areas that we don't even have the tools to design the industry information we need. So we'll be making a major investment over the next 3 years to really expand our business intelligence hub and our data dashboard. A member benefit, so if you're not in there, send us an email and we will make sure your member company has access to those weekly insights. And last but not least is our RideSpot, our industry platform to really talk to beginners, intermediates, really reduce barriers to bicycling and show people great rides. Last year, we launched challenges. And so we know that people who set a personal goal and have peer-to-peer support ride more. We can white label it for your company, your brand can have local, regional, national challenges. You can challenge your employees to take active transportation to work or for errands. But RideSpot is our industry platform for more and better riding to make sure we're showing your customers great places to ride. So check out RideSpot and that loyalty program that the industry designed. We'd love to have you as part of the initiative. So last is how you can get involved. You will see about 3,000 people get hard copies of our 2022 work plan. That's the sort of subject of today's webinar. If you want a physical copy, send us an email. About 15,000 people will be emailed the digital copy later this week. So our 2022 work plan, goes into more specifics of the DEI goals we have, e-bike goals, RideSpot challenges, city ratings program, and more. Last, I want to thank the 160 industry volunteer leaders who are at the heart of our work, our coalition board, our BPSA Trade Association committee, and then of course the 6 subcommittees and the industry leaders that come together to design our 2022 work plan to make major initiatives in each area. E-bikes, research and statistics, membership, education, marketing and events, our diversity, equity, and inclusion subcommittee, and of course, our sustainability committee. So we'd love for you to get involved, join one of our webinars, go to one of our events, hop on an industry working group or subcommittee. There's many ways to help shape and steer your advocacy, trade association, and industry group. And last, we'd love for you to join us at the Bicycle Leadership Conference. It's going to be in Dana Point, California at the Laguna Hills Marriott. It will not be hazardous duty. I've seen the pictures. It's gorgeous. And we're excited to be able to return the BLC, after 2 years of COVID isolation. We're thrilled to be able to bring industry leaders back together in California, in Southern California. It's March 21st through the 23rd. One of our keynotes is Guy Raz from How I Built This, or TED Radio Hour. He'll be interviewing Simple Human CEO Frank Yang. Simple Human has crushed it in the last few years. They have many parallels to the bike industry. And Frank uses the bicycle as his design aesthetic and his design inspiration when he started Simple Human several years ago. We also have Polly Labar from Fast Company. We have a lot of industry leaders. We'll be tackling issues, talking about supply chain, a hybrid work environment, diversity, equity, inclusion sessions, and much more. So while I'm wrapping up, if you have any questions about anything we've talked about today, make sure you enter your questions into the Q&A box in the lower toolbar, and happy to answer. For the BLC conference, we will, of course, mirror all of the latest COVID protocols. We've been talking to a lot of other trade associations that have hosted events in the last few months. And we hosted e-bike summit in Tucson, Arizona back in November. We had about 115 people there. COVID protocols of being vaccinated or showing a negative test within a couple of days. We had folks that wore masks. We had a lot of safety precautions in place. So that's what we're planning for at the end of March. So COVID willing, BLC March 21st through the 23rd, and we would love to host you there. So Kyler, how are we doing on questions? What can I answer?
Jen, I think you've covered everything so succinctly and completely. We've received no questions yet. So if you're holding on to one, please do share. We have a few minutes. And
Can
yes,
BLC virtual? No, actually next year we're going to have 3 different BLCs. The one in Dana Point will be in person. And we're having some of the best keynotes and the best networking. And so we want to make that just for the folks that are in Dana Point. Why we picked Southern California as well is because of the open air nature of the venue, meals, cocktail parties, even the room that we're in opens up to a big open veranda. So Dana Point will not be virtual. This summer, we'll have a virtual BLC, like we've had 3 virtual BLCs since March of 2020. And then in the fall, we'll have a BLC in Bentonville, sort of the lighter, more casual cousin of the C-suite bicycle leadership conference that we have in March.
well, let's give it a few more seconds so folks are thinking. I want to make sure everyone has your contact information. They can send you questions, or the generic People4Bikes one that we monitor every day, and we'll get back to you there too. But let's give it a few more seconds, and if no one has any other questions, then we're happy to send you on your way to have a great rest of your week. All right, wonderful. I think that's it. We'll make sure that everyone who registered has the recording so you can view again on your own time. Jen, thank you so much for this presentation.
Yep. Thank you to the bike industry. Thank you to our board and staff. And obviously we're here to serve and to make America the best place to ride a bike in the world. So let us know how we can help you and how we can get you involved in our mission and our work. So thank you. Thank you, Kyler and Ashley, and we'll have a great Tuesday.